One of the biggest criticisms Breath of the Wild had was its lack of enemy variety, and with Tears of the Kingdom, it looks like Nintendo's really answering on that and delivering way more. So today I wanted to talk about that, talk about what enemies we might see, confirmed enemies, kind of theorize all these different variants, because that's what Breath of the Wild did so well, or at least tried to do very well, in that every enemy had, 4 or 5 different types, elemental differences, simple, skin swaps, but they're more powerful, that kind of thing. So I wanted to discuss the differences in enemy variety in Tears of the Kingdom versus Breath of the Wild, and kind of theorize what enemies we could see return in this game. So Breath of the Wild had Bokoblins, Moblins, Lizalfos, Choo-Choos, Keese, Octoroks, Wizrobes, Lynels, Guardians, of course, the Yiga clan, and then for boss enemies it had the Stone Taluses, Hinoxes, and Molduga. Obviously, Bokoblins, Moblins, Lizalfos, Choo-Choo, Keese, Octoroks, Lynels, presumably, and maybe Wizrobes. I think it's safe to assume all those would come back. I don't really see why any of those wouldn't be here. In fact, actually, we've seen all of those, except for maybe Keese and Wizrobes, right? So all of those are going to be accounted for. However, something Tears of the Kingdom is doing that's really cool, and this goes with the whole new fusing mechanic, is every enemy has a new weapon on their head. So it adds this new layer of visual identity for every enemy, so it won't feel as redundant. But Breath of the Wild, it got kind of, tiring when it's just a bunch of red Bokoblins or the blue Moblins, that kind of thing, and they all visually look the exact same. And Tears of the Kingdom, they're all going to have a unique weapon on their head, so when you defeat them, you can take that weapon for yourself, fuse it to your sword, whatever it is going to be that you're going to do. And I'm sure that could still maybe end up wearing a little thin and maybe getting a little redundant, but just that alone is going to help this game a lot. Just that simple having, and just this goes to Breath of the Wild's gameplay loop as a whole. I think a lot of people kind of towards the end of the game, they're just kind of like, oh, I'm not going to fight these enemies. Why would I do that? Now we have a reason to, because we're going to want more powerful gear because we can defeat them and fuse their weapons. So that alone is going to, I feel like, help the gameplay loop a little bit, but also help get rid of the idea that there's a lack of enemy variety. Plus, that's on top of the fact that there will be, of course, the different variants. So you'll have your 4 tiers of Bokoblins, but then all of them can have different weapons on their head. So a lot of variety there, but that's just the base enemies from Breath of the Wild that we know are coming back. And once again, I don't think we've seen Keese, Octoroks, or Wizrobes. So those are kind of up in the air, but I would assume, why wouldn't they come back? That'd be kind of weird if they didn't. However, there are the Guardians from Breath of the Wild, which, safe to assume, aren't going to be there, as well as the Yiga clan. I don't see any reason. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool if, like, in a corner of the map somewhere, there's just a random Guardian, and you just fight it, But in terms of, like, being a regular enemy, the Guardians are obviously gone. Then we have the boss enemies, the Stone Taluses, which we know are back, Hinoxes, which I don't think we've seen yet, and Molduga, which we also haven't seen. I wouldn't expect any of these to be gone. I assume they'll all be back with new abilities, or not new abilities, but new forms, new tiers of difficulty. Stone Taluses we've seen where the Bokoblins have built camps on them, which is really cool. And that's going to be a lot of fun to, that's going to be weird to kind of take on, without Revali's Gale. Because with Stone Taluses, you just climb up the back of it and hit the little rock. But now there's like a whole camp on it, so you have to deal with that first and then deal with the rock. So it's going to add a whole new layer of challenge there, and that's going to be a lot of it's going to give you a lot of new opportunities to kind of flex this game's combat system. However, we have seen actually quite a few new enemies so far. First up, we have the weird bird creature that was seen in the February 2023 trailer in that Nintendo Direct. I don't know the name of this. I don't know if this lines up with another enemy from The Legend of Zelda like in the past, but we have these new flying bird bat things, not bats because they're bigger, but these weird bird creatures. I don't know what they are, but safe to assume it'll be a similar thing where they have all those different variants, those different power levels. In fact, this is actually going to probably be pretty annoying. Any flying enemy is just kind of a pain, You're going to be minding your own business on the Skylands. This thing's going to swoop down and attack you. So those will be fun to deal with, right? Then, of course, we have the Constructs, which are kind of replacing Guardians in terms of this game's like main new enemy type, I guess. Obviously, they won't play anything like Guardians, but you know, you're going to be fighting the soldier constructs and or are they the builder constructs, whatever they're called, just on the Sky Islands. I think we also have confirmation that there will be some on the ground level, so it's not going to be exclusively up there, but mostly on the Sky Islands. We also saw in the most recent trailer what looks to be a huge, like, big construct, so there will probably be a boss variant of this new Zonai enemy type. We're also seeing the return of Redeads from Wind Waker, and I think the last time they were actually in the game was what? Were they in Triforce Heroes? I think they were in Triforce Heroes. So that's going to be awesome. I'll be curious to see how that actually affects gameplay, because in Ocarina, you know, it would stun Link and you'd get frozen in fear by their screeching. I wonder if that'll, you know, the same thing will happen in this game, or if they'll do something a little different. Either way, that's going to be terrifying. I hope, you know, I wonder if it'll be like only at night they appear, you know, kind of like the style bokoblins and all that. Or if it's just like certain caves maybe for them. So Redeads are coming back. That's awesome. There's also this new bokoblin type. This is like a mix between a bokoblin and a Hinox, where it's just like a big beefy bokoblin. He's just a big boy. So I don't know what these would be called. These look more like what you would expect a moblin to look like, but we already have the skinny, lanky moblins in this game. So a new type of bokoblin that's a little bit bigger here. We also saw like-likes in the 2021 trailer, or what I can only presume to be a like-like. I don't think like-likes ever, you know, attach themselves to ceilings in past games, but, I mean, this is such, like, a goopy-looking creature. It has to be a like-like, right? Let me know. I mean, I can only imagine that it is. And once again, all of these will likely have those variants. Once again, those different tiers. I don't really know. You could change Redeads to make them look more foreboding. Because Redead's just base level already look terrifying. So we'll have to see if they do anything with that. I could see Redead's maybe just kind of being a one-off, like there's not much variation there. But for like-likes and the bokoblins and this new bird creature, I would assume all of those will have the typical variants you expect from Breath of the Wild. Then we have the new bosses in this game, and we've only seen one of them, although I think presumably two. So the first one that we know is confirmed. We actually saw some leaked footage recently that, shout out to Nintendo for taking on my video that showed none of this leaked footage. Thanks, Nintendo. I only discussed it. Fair use. Come on, guys. The Gleeok. And in that leaked footage, we see the health bar, and it's like a flame Gleeok. So we know there's going to be elemental Gleeoks. Of course, Gleeok, if you don't know, is from Zelda 1. And it is the three-headed dragon that we see on the bridge in the most recent trailer, and the February trailer from that direct. So this is gonna be an awesome new overworld boss. From I will say, from that leaked footage, it looks freaking awesome. It's just a quick clip, but it looks really cool, and I'm super excited to see this. This one is where it gets really interesting for me, because I think they can go really crazy here. So obviously there's the flame Gleeok. Safe to assume there will be an ice type Gleeok, and probably an electric Gleeok. Those are your three main things. That's probably how it'll go. However, I've seen some ideas that maybe it'll have, you know, a type of Gleeok where one head is fire, one head is ice, one head is electric. That'd be sick. But also, more importantly, a style Gleeok. You know, the style enemy types that come out at night, the skeletons, the remains of enemies. A style, ice, fire, whatever it is, skeleton dragon, three-headed dragon Gleeok in this game. I mean, come on. That's such an easy win in terms of having an epic overworld boss battle. So I really hope they deliver on these Gleeok variants. The other boss enemy that we've seen, and once again, we don't technically know it's a boss, but I mean, it seems kind of obvious, is this weird Minecraft-looking block man from, I think it was, once again, the 2021 trailer, that, you know, kind of looks like it has some construct energy going on, some Zonai stuff going on, but it's not quite the same. So we'll have to wait and see what this is, but I would assume this is going to be some sort of new, like, Talus boss, that kind of thing, and there'll be multiple of these as well. Other enemies that are most likely going to be in this game, the new furry creature, for lack of a better term. Now, I don't think these are going to be like an overworld enemy or anything. These aren't going to be something you fight very often, but in this trailer, we see this new furry character, this new, what would it be? Just, it has like a snout, it's a goat kind of looking thing. I don't even know. Some people are saying it's Zonai, some people are saying it's not Zonai. I truly have no idea what this new race of creature is to the Zelda series. This shot of it in the trailer certainly makes it look like this is going to be an enemy that you fight at some point. I would assume this is more like an actual scripted story boss fight that you're fighting that, but you'll probably be fighting this creature at some point in the game. And that about does it for all of the known quantities in terms of enemies. And that right there, I mean, there's going to be stuff we don't know about. I mean, there was a ton we didn't know about Breath of the Wild. I don't think we knew about Wizrobes or the Yiga, of course, and Breath of the Wild, or any of those bosses. I don't think we knew about Stone Taluses, actually. I think we knew about Hinox. But anyway, even if it was just this stuff, plus the new bosses for whatever the new dungeons are, I'd feel pretty content with that. That's a lot of enemy variety, because you have to consider that's, 15 types of enemies, but they have all these different variants of difficulty, that changes their the color of the enemy itself. But then they also have the weapons on their head for certain enemies like Bokoblins and Moblins and Lizalfos and Lionels, where if you defeat them, you get that weapon. So there's a lot of layers of variety here, which I think really helps address that issue that a lot of people had with Breath of the Wild. And personally, for me, that was kind of an issue. That's one of my gripes with that game. Fixing that, I think, is really important. It looks like they really did address that. Now, I was kind of looking at past Zelda games to get ideas of what enemies they could add here, and there weren't many. It'd be cool if they added like Dark Nuts back as an overworld boss, with a health bar. That'd be cool. I was thinking, it's been a while since we saw a Deku Baba pop up, but, without the Deku tree, there's not much Deku anything going on in this game. I was thinking, if there's a lot of underground exploration in this game, I think Tektites or, Goma or, some sort of spider would make sense as an underground enemy. And that's one thing, too. If there's a lot of underground exploration, you have to have some specific enemy type. So, like, Redettes, for example, would make sense to be underground. I guess also Like could be that. But I think spiders would also make sense. I know Tektites traditionally were on Death Mountain, right? But I think those being underground in this game, or even just around Death Mountain again, would be really cool. So let me know down in the comments below, are you impressed so far with the enemy variety we've seen in Tears of the Kingdom? And if not, what enemies do you think they should add? And what can they do to help increase the variety of enemies? For me, I'm actually pretty happy with what we've seen so far. I do, of course, hope there's more. I'm always going to hope there's more. But, I'm pretty pleased with what they've done with this new weapon fusing, and how every enemy has that unique kind of aspect to them, which is going to be a lot of fun. So once again, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the enemy variety? Of course, subscribe here so you don't miss a single Tears of the Kingdom video from me, and you can follow me on Twitter as well at Botox Games. Until next time, folks, peace.